In the previous tutorial, we worked on creating a flyout menu like in the demo. In this tutorial, we're going to focus on creating a mega submenu, specifically this one from the demo. So before we get started with actually building the menu, I just want to go over the structure of the mega menu. So in the menus panel, what you're doing is building a hierarchical structure. So the top level items have child items. So mega menu has standard, descriptions, images and descriptions, and icons as submenu items. And then each of those items in turn has submenu items. So this is just a standard hierarchy tree structure. On the front end, that gets translated into this mega menu structure. So you have the top level menu item obviously in the menu bar. And then when that's hovered, it reveals the second and third level items in the submenu. Now the second level items are shown across the top as column headers. So these are your second level items. You can see that they are the submenu items of mega menu, standard, descriptions, etc. The third level items that are child items of those column headers. So standards child items are soccer, football, basketball, baseball, hockey, which you can see here. So second level items create the columns. Standard is a second level item, and it creates this column. The term standard becomes the column header, and then its child items create the content in that column. Same with descriptions. Descriptions, it has these child items, Game of Thrones, Ender's Game, Ready Player One, and it creates a second column. So you can see how these hierarchical structures translate into submenu megastructures. Now, just to go over what we've got in this particular submenu, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 second level items, standard descriptions, images and descriptions, icons, and custom, which create these 5 separate columns. Within each of these columns, this first column is just your standard normal menu items. They're just text. In the second column, we've added descriptions, or a description to each of the menu items, and that's with this smaller text that appears below. Right, so Game of Thrones, Ender's Game is the normal menu item text, and George R.R. Martin, Orson Scott Card are the descriptions for those items. In the images and descriptions column, we have the main item text with the description text, plus an image that's aligned to the left. In the icons column, we have our normal text, plus we've added icons to each of the items. And then in this custom column, we've just added custom HTML, which here is just text. And then what you're seeing in the bottom right is a background image for this entire submenu. So now we'll go over how to create that piece by piece. So first, let's add our second level menu items. I don't have actual items for these headers, so we're going to create custom links. So we'll go edit our menu, create some custom links. Now I'm going to make these items children of the mega menu item, and these will become the column headers. Now, of course, you can do the exact same thing with a menu item that's a page or a post or any custom post type. Here I'm just using these custom links because I don't actually have pages to represent these specific items that I want to add. So we've added those in. Let's save this menu. We'll refresh the front end. And you'll see now the mega menu has a submenu, and here are each of our column headers. Now obviously they don't have any child items yet, so there's no content in the submenu columns. So the next thing we want to do is give them some content. So we need soccer, football, basketball, baseball, and hockey for our standard submenu. And I'm just gonna, so I don't have to drag these all quite as far, I'm just gonna use this little trick. Okay. Save this menu. Refresh the home page. And now see it's starting to look more like a mega menu. You can see that those items automatically stack in a column below their header. You can also see that now that this column header has submenu items, there's a divider here. Now you can disable that divider in the customizer if you'd like, but you'll notice that items that don't have submenus or sub-items will not have that divider. And notice that we really haven't changed any settings. So out of the box, by default, the submenu type for a mega menu is going to, the automatic setting is going to go to a mega submenu. And within a mega submenu, the column submenu type is going to automatically become a stack. So to get this basic structure, you really don't need to change anything. All right. So now let's add the description menu items. Now that we've added those items, we'll save the menu, refresh the home page, and you'll see we have our descriptions items. Now to add descriptions, this is actually part of the core WordPress menu system, so we don't change it in the UberMenu options. We actually just expand the standard item, and you'll see the description box here. Now if you don't see the description box, it's because it hasn't been revealed yet. You go up and click this Screen Options tab. You'll see that under Show Advanced Menu Properties, there's a description checkbox. If you uncheck it, the description box will disappear. If you check it, it'll appear, and then you'll be able to add your description. So I'm just using author names here as the description. So let's add one and see what happens. All right, so there's our description. Now you should be aware that you can turn the descriptions on and off per level by going to the UberMenu control panel, and for your configuration going to the descriptions tab, and you can uncheck these for the top level header item or normal item descriptions. So now if we were to disable this for our normal items, you'll see that the description will disappear. So you'll need to make sure that your descriptions are enabled for the proper level in order to actually have them appear. All right, so let's add our descriptions for our other items. And there are each of our descriptions. All right, next, let's recreate the images plus descriptions column. So we have UFO, rocket ship, and astronauts. And we've got a little description for each of these. We'll see each of our items in that column with their little descriptions. So now let's add images. So this time we'll actually open up the UberMenu menu item options. And we'll click the Image tab. Now, if you're using a post that already has a featured image, you can set inherit featured image to assign image on save, and then just save your menu item, and that featured image will automatically be applied to this menu item. But we're using custom menu items or links, so they don't. There's no associated post with a featured image. So you can always just choose your image this way. So click select, and that will open up the standard WordPress Media Manager. And now if your image is already here, you can just scroll around and select it. If you'd like to upload a new one, just click Upload Files, and either click here to select your files, or drag and drop them, just like using the Media Manager to upload to a poster page or whatever you're used to doing. Once you've uploaded it, you can then choose it from the media library. So which item? We're doing UFO. So we will select the UFO. Click select, and you'll see the image appear here. Then we'll just save our menu item. And now you can see our image appear in next to this item. Now, keep in mind that this image was already sized appropriately for this menu item. If we were to select a very large image, you'll see that obviously that doesn't look very good. So what you would need to do is set up the appropriate image sizes. Now, perhaps you want a large image and you want the image to appear above the item. Now you can set up, if you look at the Layout tab, you'll see that under Item Layout, you can set the various image layouts. Put the image on the left, on the right, above, or below. Now, by default, if you leave it set on default and you add an image, it will default to image left. So, but of course, if we look at this, it's not on the left, it's above. That's because the image is too big to fit to the left of the text. So you could select image above. Now notice that before we refresh the page, this is indented as if there should be an image to the left, but obviously doesn't fit there. Once we refresh, now with the item layout set to image above, the menu item text is properly left aligned because it knows the image is supposed to be above it. Note that you can also change that alignment. You can change it to left, center, or right, however you like. But let's assume we still want to put this image on the left. What we need to do is go into the UberMenu control panel, and for our configuration, we'll go into images, and we can set two properties which will determine the actual size of the image displayed. First, we want to change the image size. And what the image size is the actual file that's going to be served up. So if you want the image to display at 50 pixels wide by 50 pixels high, you don't want to be serving a 1,000 pixel wide image. The browser can resize it for you, but it's a waste of bandwidth. So you want to use an appropriate image size. What you'll see here are all the image sizes that are available to your installation. And by default, you'll have full, thumbnail, medium, and large. But your theme might register custom sizes, and you can register custom sizes as well. So if we look at the image documentation quickly, this is all covered in there in greater detail. And you can also check out this, this tutorial, which focuses specifically on adding images. But you'll see that there's actually some custom code here. So if you want to define an image size that isn't already defined, you can just pop this code into your child themes functions.php file, set these dimensions to whatever you like, and you should be good to go. Then that size will appear here, which is what we've got, which is why we're seeing UberMenu image size. So this is a customization you can add to your theme. So you want to choose an appropriate image size. So let's choose thumbnail. Now the default thumbnail size is actually determined by your configuration, your WordPress core configuration. So you can set these sizes here. So the thumbnail is set to 150 by 150 by default. Save this these settings. Now that we've assigned that size, if we refresh and we look at the menu, you'll see that it's 150 by 150. That's still not really small enough. So you could define a custom image size. You could, which you would then select here. So ideally, you would actually upload an image at the appropriate size that you want to place in your menu. That would be the optimal way to do it. But if you want to be able to resize this image, what you can do is set the image width setting here. So let's say we want it to be 50 pixels. We then save that setting, refresh the page, and you can see the menu item is now 50 pixels by 50 pixels. However, if you inspect it, you'll see that the image is actually 150 pixels wide. It's just been scaled down within the browser. Now, even if you upload an image at the appropriate size, you do still need to set the image width so that the text knows how much space to leave to the left of it, assuming you're using a left or right layout for the image. So let's go back and switch this back to the image we want to use, the UFO. Save that. Set the rocket ship here. And set our astronaut here. I also just want to point out that I was showing the global settings in the UberMenu control panel. These will affect all images within the menu. However, you can also adjust those settings at a local level, so you don't have to have all your images be the same size. You can also choose the image size here. By default, it'll inherit the global settings, but if you want to change a setting specific to this menu item, you can do so here, and you can also set the width. If you want to set custom dimensions, you need to set this setting to custom, and then set a custom width. Sorry. Alright, so now you can see, they're actually being expanded because I set the custom width to 50, so they look a little blurry. So let's see the actual size of these images. They're naturally 40 by 40, so we'll set the width to 40. And now they're displayed at their proper size. All right, let's do the icons items next. We have desktop, laptop, tablet, and mobile. All right, so there are items. Now we'll give them icons. We'll go to our menu item settings for each item. Click the icon tab, and then we just choose the item that we choose the icon that we want. So here's our desktop. Go into laptop, icon, choose the laptop, tablet, icon, choose the tablet, and under mobile, whoops, icon, choose the mobile phone. Whoops, that's actually wasn't the mobile phone, that was the tablet again. There's the mobile phone. And there are our icons. And finally, let's create this custom content. So I'm just going to grab the text that we used here. So to create the content below our custom item, we're going to add a custom content menu item. So under UberMenu Advanced Items, we'll choose a custom content item, add that to the menu. We'll drag it below our item that's labeled custom. And then we'll open the menu item settings, and we'll see we have this custom content box where we can paste our custom content. So I'll paste it right there. We'll save that item. Oops, and don't forget to also save the menu because we added a new item. And we'll refresh the front end. And you can see we have our custom content here, but obviously that's not really the layout we want. It's too wide to fit in the space available, so it's getting forced down to the next level, but it's not clearing this column correctly, and it kind of looks like a mess. So this is where the layout settings come in for our submenu. Now, the simplest way to address layout settings is that we have 5 columns in the submenu. So we could divide them evenly into 5 columns. So if we go to our mega menu item and open the menu item settings and go to the submenu tab, we'll see that we have this submenu column default. Now there are a few basic settings. Natural means that the submenu columns will just be sized at their natural size, meaning based on their contents, and that's what it does by default when it's set to automatic. We can also put it at full width, but that's not what we want in this case. Or we can use this grid system where we can choose a specific percentage of the submenu that each column will take up. So if we've got 5 columns and we want them to be divided evenly, we would set the submenu column default to 1/5. Each column will take up 1/5 of the submenu. So if we save that and refresh, you'll see now each item is evenly distributed. They take up 100% of the submenu, and each column is 1/5 or 20% of the submenu. So now everything fits on one line, and it looks a lot better. Now, that works just fine. In this case, because each of these columns is really the contents of them are very different widths, it actually doesn't look that nice being evenly divided. You can see in the demo, these columns take up the full width of the submenu, but they are each sized differently. So you can size each column individually by clicking the menu item for that column. So in this case, we're talking about the column headers, which are standard descriptions images. So if you go to the Layout tab, you'll see that you have the same options for the columns width setting. Now this setting will override the setting from the parent item for the submenu. So basically any item that you don't set this, leave it to automatic, leave it set on automatic, it will inherit from the parent item's submenu column default, or you can override it here. So in the case of the demo, we actually broke this down rather unusually. The first column is an eighth, the second is a sixth, the third is a fourth, the fourth is an eighth, and the fifth is a third. So we can recreate that here. Again, the first is an eighth, so we'll set this to 1/8. And just so you can see what's happening once we do that, see that the first column is now only 1/8 instead of 1/5. So the columns don't total to 100% anymore, so we end up with this gap on the end. Now we'll make the descriptions item 1/6 under layout. We'll make the images plus descriptions column 1/4. And again, let's just show you what we've done so far. All right, so we have an eighth, a sixth, and a fourth, and then these two are still inheriting the 1/5 that we set as a default for the mega menu submenu. So these last two will be 1/8 and 1/3. So icons will set to 1/8. And custom we will set to 1/3. And in general, you just want to have all of these add up to 100% for each row that you have in your submenu. So now you can see where we've got all the columns, they fill the entire width of the submenu. And we've recreated the demo for the most part. The only thing that we're missing at this point is the submenu image. So to set that, we go back to the settings for mega menu, for the mega menu item, because we want to change its submenu. Click on the submenu tab, and we scroll down, and we'll see that there is a submenu background image setting. So we click select here, it's just like selecting any image, and we'll find the image that we want to use as our background. So here's the background image that we want to use. So we select that, and it'll show up here, and we save our menu item. And there it is. Now by default, it appears in the bottom right because that just tends to be the most common spot for these, but you can change that. You can, just below the setting, the background position is set to bottom right by default, but you could change that to, oops, not bottom top, that doesn't make any sense. You could change it to bottom left if you wanted. Now the image appears over here. Obviously you need to leave enough space in your submenu to actually accommodate the image. But there are a variety of settings that you can play around with to position and size your submenu image. You can also add submenu padding if you want to leave extra room for it. So if we were going to add this image to the bottom left, and as we showed a second ago, well, there's no space for it, but we could add, say, 50 pixels of padding. So this is the value for the top, right, bottom and left. Now there's, well, I didn't add quite enough, but there's more space there, as you can see. So switch this back to bottom right. And now we've recreated the mega menu from the demo.